Good morning, I'm Robert Dwyer, the member for Port Macquarie, and I'm here today in Hannam Vale talking to Tim Bale from the Dairy Farmers Advancement Group about the impact of the recent disaster of flooding that we've had and how the recovery process is going. So Tim, how are the farmers going in the Hannam Vale area?
Well, Hannam Vale's actually pretty fortunate. We're probably recovering quicker here than on the lower river. But our biggest problem at the moment is late plantings, still very, very damp. Even 10 mil of rain that we've had in the last couple of days has made everything soft again. And the grass is growing extremely slow. Normally this time of year, we're almost looking at having heaps of feed, like knocking hay off and all that. There's heaps of feed in front of the cows. We're just not there at the moment. We're still restricting feed, trying to get ryegrass growing with a lot of fertiliser, and we're still feeding a lot of hay. So we're still feeding probably at the moment, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 bales of hay a day. And it costs a fair bit of money when you bring 40 bales on a semi, and that's 25,000
grand,
or something like that. So we're going to spend a lot of money this year, that's for sure. But there's other farmers a lot worse than us. On the lower river, they've tried to sort of reduce numbers. The same thing is a lot of them planted with a drone, and it's coming up slow. They will recover. There's a lot of debris to remove and all that sort of stuff. But that's probably removing the debris and all that sort of stuff is actually probably the easy job. Getting paddocks, getting cows back to normal.
Good morning, I'm Robert Dwyer, the member for Port Macquarie, and I'm here today in Hannam Vale talking to Tim Bale from the Dairy Farmers Advancement Group about the impact of the recent disaster of flooding that we've had and how the recovery process is going. So Tim, how are the farmers going in the Hannam Vale area?
Well, Hannam Vale's actually pretty fortunate. We're probably recovering quicker here than on the lower river. But our biggest problem at the moment, number of cows as well, is important. So some of them are realising that it's not just getting their cows back milking, it's getting a number there to have the cash flow they need. It is a bit of a numbers game sometimes. To milk 70, 80 cows these days is just not warranted. You need to milk a couple of hundred cows, and they need to get back there as fast as they can.
And the Dairy Farmers Advancement Group goes from Kempsey down to the Manning and roughly out to Gloucester. They supply 25% of the milk, roughly, for the New South Wales market. Hannam Vale wasn't impacted, as you said, as bad as some of those other areas. How's the recovery, say, at Kempsey and down in the Manning going?
Again, the same in a way. It's slow. Farmers are resilient. I hate that word, but that's what they say. And we are, and some people look at that different. It's also habit. Because it's part of your lifestyle, I think that's what makes it harder to give up. It's not like get them 65, I'm time to retire. It's not the same, because this is what you do. You do every day, regardless of whether you're working physically in the dairy, if you're still here. And some of the damage, actually, I think further upriver is actually harder to fix than the lower river, because it's just so overwhelming. The damage of acres and acres of ripped, out, lost ground, all that sort of stuff is probably harder to deal with. I might get some farmers argue about that, but the damage is really something that's going to take years to get over. And then, of course, it's scary. They're saying we might have another one in the next couple of years. Well, my God,
what's going to happen?
Don't want that. But so yes, it's slow. Again, the 75,000 is really appreciated, but farmers have got to spend that. And a lot of it's going to come down to costs you won't see. It'll just be lower cash flow. And look, what I've worked out, even the smallest farms, it's $400,000.
Wow.
And some of the more average, the bigger farms is well over $1 million. And it won't necessarily be seen because it's just going to be something that's sort of buried in the cash flow sort of thing, just less money. Less money to spend, you might still survive, but you're not going to do this and you're not going to do that, etc., etc.
Terrible impact. So